Hi, everyone. How you're doing? Now, I'm experimenting today, and I'm meant to be live on YouTube, X, Facebook, and Instagram. However,
it just showed me you live on Instagram.
it is showing, is it? Because I'm
Yeah.
not sure. It's not showing on mine. So obviously, I'll have to another time. If you're here on Instagram, this is the first time we've joined from there. So thank you so much for joining us. But one thing I will say is I'll flick backs and forwards for comments because it's not showing the comments on Instagram on StreamYard. So I'm not great at technology, and this is the first time we're doing it. So thank you.
I'm just going to check for you quickly. I'm just going to check if it's showing on your Instagram page, because it just showed me on my computer, on my laptop, that you were live on
Let us know if
Instagram.
it's not showing on my phone, actually, but then equally, it is showing on the screen. So let us know on Instagram if you're watching.
Yes, it's showing that you're live.
Oh,
but hang on, it doesn't, where is it? I don't see us sitting. It's showing on your little profile that you're live, but I don't see where we are.
Oh, so I'm saying live on Instagram. So we're just going to go for it, folks. And excuse me when I haven't got any of my children around to help me with the technology.
Yeah, exactly. I always say we were born in the 80s. You know, we were sitting in classrooms writing love notes to each other, folding them up like jets and flying them across the room. That was our messaging.
And I'm so sorry to see, Soprano, that you're having a bad time at the moment, sending you hugs in a bad way. So what I'll do is I'll switch between the two and we'll keep an eye on it. But for those of you on Instagram, this is my friend Chantelle, who runs 2 channels on YouTube, Aquarius Rising Africa and also Solutions with Aquarius Rising. So for those of you that are joining us on our normal platforms, I'm so happy to see Kevin and Dragonfly and Carol here. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know where you're joining from. But Chantelle, we're lucky enough to have quite a few listeners. So before we dive deep into today's subject, which is a biggie, which is looking at our mental diet, and this is so, so important and so often overlooked with anyone that's working on themselves. Can you just introduce yourself to my audience and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yay. Well, hello, everybody. Really nice to be here. Catherine and I obviously have some Friday fun every week, one week on my channel, the next week on hers. So I really enjoy our topics that we talk about. And so I'm the host of Aquarius Rising Africa, as well as Solutions with Shanti. Aquarius Rising Africa is where I interview a lot of the harsher topics, a lot of SRA, satanic ritual abuse survivors. So we're looking into the deep stuff. Solutions is more the healing channel. I'm a healer, been a healer for many years. I work with kids, I create workshops, I do one-on-one sessions. And really, it's spiritual alchemy, understanding the lead can be turned into gold at any moment you choose. So in a nutshell, that's who I am.
I love it. And what Chantelle and I do is every other week we go live once on my channel. So those of you that are on Instagram, I do have a YouTube channel, Catherine Edwards. Check that out. There's loads of information on there. And then the following week we go live on Chantelle's channel, Solutions with Aquarius Rising Africa. But today, let's launch into it. And we are very open to questions. Thank you so much. I love seeing all our regulars joining. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. The usual suspects. Nice to see you guys.
I love it. We're talking about your mental diet. Now, what really triggered this is I listened to a really good podcast this week. I do a lot of listening when I can on things that are really moving me forward. And Chantelle and I both work a lot one-on-one with clients and groups of clients on really shifting anything in their life that needs shifting, whether it's their health, whether it's their mindset, whether it's their business. And the one thing, Chantelle, that comes up time and time again for me with people, and I have to keep reminding myself about every single day, is our mental diet. And what I mean by that is we're all really familiar with the fact that what we put into our physical body, what we eat, what we drink, what we breathe in is going to have a huge effect on our physical and mental health. However, a lot of us don't spend quite so much time and attention and the controllers out there know it, in terms of what we're putting into our mind and the subconscious side of things. So talk us through what it means for you when we're talking about your mental diet.
Well, your mental diet is really the thoughts that you choose to think, because we often speak about sound, frequency, vibration, and your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your everything really has a large impact on the reality you create for yourself in this world. And really, at the end of the day, wherever you're at in life is really due to your invisible input. And your input is, as you say, it's not just your food and your healthy organic diet and whatever it is. It starts with your thoughts, and it starts with your emotions. Your thoughts really hold the power to change your existence completely. If you choose to see yourself as someone who's not worthy of love, as someone who is not confident in who they are, no matter what, as someone who's always competing with others because you feel like you don't have what it takes to be a success in life, whatever it is, the minute you think about yourself as anything less than, rest assured you are going to create that. And your thoughts and your emotions work in tandem with each other. So what you think is what you feel, because those thoughts send the thought to the emotions which are stored in the cells of your body, which then penetrate the emotions, and the emotions react to your thoughts. So if it's a negative thought, it's going to send up a negative emotion, which then your thoughts react to that emotion. So the two of them have a tandem relationship, basically. So thoughts, emotions, thoughts, emotions, thoughts, emotions, really at the end of the day then create your reality, because that then permeates out of you. And we know by now that your thoughts and your emotions create this energy field like a magnet that attracts or repels. It's an invisible energy field. So whatever you're thinking and feeling has a direct effect on the world around you. You are therefore going to be attracting into your life the very things you're thinking and feeling about, right? And therefore, that is how we create our reality. So when you're thinking somebody else is doing it to you, you haven't understood that yet. You have not understood that you yourself are the creator of your own destiny, and you are therefore attracting that. And the person that's appearing in front of you is really a teacher for you. It's a manifestation of what you're putting out there. So instead of blaming the person for doing all these nasty things to you, ask yourself, why are you creating this in your life? Not in a nasty way. You've got to be really kind to yourself as well. You're the first person that needs to be kind to you. You need to be kind to you, and then watch what happens. It works in every way. When you decide to love yourself, care for yourself, cherish yourself, forgive yourself, that's when you're going to find that happening in the world around you as well.
Yeah, I love it. And I think when we're looking at the mental diet and what's going into, most people have got a fairly good grip at the moment now of, we've got the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And, we can control a lot what goes into the conscious mind, but quite often we're not so much in control, most of the time, of what goes into the subconscious mind. And this programming has been through us since before birth. And I think one of the things when we're looking at our sort of mental diet and why we might be feeling certain ways, why we're in certain situations in our life. And as I said, absolutely nothing about this is to do with blaming yourself, completely the opposite. But when we sort of are looking at our life around us, one of the first places to start is your friendship group, or those people that you spend a lot of time around. So we all know with the good old saying that, you are the product of the 10 people that you spend the most time with. And some of those people you've got choices about. Some of those people you haven't got choices about so much, if they're family members, for example. But I want everyone to think at the moment about, if I say to you, don't look at the white car, for the rest of the day, all you're going to see is white cars everywhere. And
Right.
that's part of our brain called the reticular activating system that sort of logs these subconscious things. And it's part of our survival mechanism. But what happens is the words we're using, the music we're listening to, the podcasts we're watching or listening to, the reality TV, everything is also going in there if we're not careful. The social media that we're scrolling through. So one of the things I love to talk to people about, Chantelle, and I'd like your opinion on, and let us know any questions in the chat, guys, is when people are noticing they're having a bad day, they're having a bad week, they're having a bad year, and where would you suggest they look in terms of their influences that are going into their subconscious mind to try and make sense of it and see where they can have the biggest win?
You know, the subconscious, obviously, as you know, very often time comes from birth and, in my opinion, before. Okay, but let's just call it birth, right? And that is often to do with your surroundings, the upbringing you've had, what your parents instilled in you. If your parents were terrified of not having money, of course, that would be instilled in you. If they were having a bad relationship and never knew how to sort out things and were having violence, whether it was verbal, emotional, or physical, whatever, of course, that affects you, right? So from being in the womb, right, from the time we're in the womb, we're already taking on our mother's emotions. You know, one of the therapies I've created is the womb regression, where I take people back into the womb. And it's amazing how people have, without realizing it, taken on mom and dad's emotions, because remember, you connected via the umbilical cord, and the baby hears father and the surroundings outside, and everything is already coming at the baby. So when you're born, you think that that is you. That's your perception. You're already reacting to your environment, or you're responding to your environment. So when we obviously realize, we get to the stage of realizing, well, things in my life are really not working out in the way that I choose them to. And I just keep self-sabotaging. I keep having screwed up relationships, or I keep meeting people and all they do is cheat on me, or whatever the case might be. You will know what your situation is about. So that's the time you really need to be doing the shadow work, as we call it. So to sit down and say, okay, well, this is a recurring pattern in my life. Betrayal is a recurring pattern in my life. Abandonment is a recurring pattern in my life. And, this is the time you've got to be really honest with yourself, because these things are subconscious blockages. Now, the thing with us human beings is we actually become addicted to emotions. That's the thing with us. Let's say, for example, and I use this example a lot. You get up in the middle of the night and you just have this sweet craving. And you go off and munch a whole packet of cookies, right? And immediately you feel disgusting, you feel guilty, you hate yourself, you've picked up 3 kilos just in half an hour, And of course, then you end up feeling on so many levels. Then I'd say to you, if you came to me and you're giving me that as an example, it could be anything. So whatever it is, fill in the dots for yourself. I would say, take the cookies away. Take the cookies out of the equation. Take everything out of the equation. I will guarantee you are addicted to guilt. You are addicted to guilt. So you are going to keep playing out that addiction in one way or the other. So we have to start looking at the emotions and of course, the thoughts and the emotion. The mental emotional diet, we can call it, right, will always go hand in hand. So as so the cookies that you've munched are just a byproduct of what's really going on the inside of you. So then I say, okay, so now you've identified it's guilt. Why do you like feeling guilty? You obviously like feeling guilty because otherwise you wouldn't do it so much to yourself. We've got to turn these things around. We've got to stop hating what we're doing. We've got to embrace it. We've got to actually love what we're doing, even though it might not be very likable. There's a big difference between loving and liking. I mean, a parent loves their children. You might not like what they do, but you certainly love them, right? So you go to them because you love them. So sit with yourself, because deep down you really know you love yourself, and start asking yourself questions such as these. So look at the things. I will tell you, probably, okay, I'll say 99.9% of the time, but probably 100% of the time, when you keep tripping yourself up, it's not the physical thing that trips you up. If you've got a shopping addiction and you're spending $500 and you don't have it, and you hate on yourself when you get home 2 days later because now you have got no money to pay rent, for example, look at the addiction. It's not the shopping. What is the emotion? What is the feeling that drives you to do that? And you got to sit with yourself, and writing things down is super powerful. So to sit, get yourself a journal, pretty journal, cover it with pretty purple flowers if you need to, and buy yourself a fancy pen and write down all these things, because the minute you start writing things down, they actually become real. And then you can start working with yourself in that way. So it's really good to be able to just do things because you love yourself. You know, people say to me, well, you know, what can I do to love myself? Well, yes, taking baths and massages and all these lovely things is part of loving yourself. But loving yourself is really doing the tough stuff as well. So we start then looking at these subconscious blockages. And when we can look at them and identify them, and you'll know when you've hit the jackpot, it's like, bing, something in your cells happens, like a weight feels lifted, or you get like a tingly feeling or something. You will know when you're on the mark with yourself.
Yeah, I love it. Ask us any questions in the chat, guys, and we will come to those. One of the things I wanted to just sort of put out there to people is really be conscious of your morning habits and what you start your morning with. So, for example, if you get up in the morning and straight away you're going to check your messages, if you're going on social media, the people that you're following on social media are going to have a big impact, whether you're aware of it or not, on your mood for that day. We all know lots of people that will sit there and watch the news all day, and they're in a very much heightened state of fear, or really negative or angry, or just not really seeing in control of their emotions. Because when we look at friends that we've got around us, and I know, Kevin, I'm really sorry to hear that you're struggling, but looking at having friends and who you're spending time with is so important. Are your friends and the people you're spending time with, are they the ones who are cheering you on? Have they got your back? Are they pleased for you? You know, or are they friends that are jealous of everything you do and trying to sort of, every time you come up with a good idea or a new suggestion, put you down? Because doing a really good audit of that is so important, because it's important for you and it's important for other people. And if, for example, like we've got some people in the chat sort of saying that they've lost their loved ones and shutting themselves away, well, taking a look at your local environment, is there any sort of community group that you could go along to, any sort of way you can start connecting? Because once we start that isolation process, it becomes more and more difficult to do it. So just challenging yourself once each week, just to go and interact with perhaps a new group of people, because you'd be very surprised that, you know, often you will find someone that you really gel with, and that you can help lift each other up. I think also in terms,
I want to just add something for Kevin here. You know, Kevin, I understand what you're saying, and, you know, let's look at why that happens. There's a reason you've shut yourself off from people. You've obviously been disappointed by people on some level or the other, right? They've let you down, or they've hurt you, or whatever that might be. But then I'm going to say again, let's look, and please, this is no punishment or whatever it might be. I'm just saying we've got to look at what we're putting out there. My question then to you would be, how much love and kindness and caring are you giving to you? Do you, if you say, well, tomorrow I'm starting the gym or starting to go for walks or whatever, and you keep not doing it, for example, commitment, you're not committing to anything that you do to yourself. Then we're surprised when other people don't commit to ourselves. So maybe wake up in the morning. Okay, so let down is an understatement. So then Are you letting yourself down? How are you letting yourself down? That's more the question, because remember, people out there are really a mirror for you. So are you following through with what you say you're going to do? Are you taking care of your health? Are you taking care of your well-being? I saw earlier on you made a financial comment. Well, the bottom line is money is merely a reflection of what's happening on the inside of you. So start giving yourself some love, some affection, some nice things. Really start with yourself. And then you're going to start seeing how that plays out in the world around you as well. It's not always easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. But it takes courage to do it. So that's what you need to look at. I'm the most important thing. And that's really, and it's not an egotistical thing. It's really, we are all created by an amazing superior being, the divine creator, God, whatever you choose to call it. And we are equally as important in this world as everyone else is. So let's focus on that, start with yourself.
Yeah, I love it. And I think, it's so important to go back and really remembering what you like about yourself. And as you said there, Kevin, money's not everything. As a kid, we were poor but happy. And this is so true. And I think perhaps taking a look at all of us, taking a look about, okay, why are we feeling down? I mean, we really appreciate you being here today, Kevin, and I know everyone in the community does. So, doing things that are going to, taking a look at what you're listening to, what you're reading, what you're interacting with, so that who you're interacting with, so that you can really start to say, well, why am I feeling like this? Why am I actually not feeding myself? If we got up in the morning and we just, for the whole of the day, ate processed rubbish food, by the end of the day, we're not going to be feeling good. And the same thing is about the information we're taking in. So when we're feeling a little bit down, where do we know that we can go to, that we can either listen to something or read something or talk to someone or go somewhere out in nature, whatever it might be for you? Go take your dog for a walk. And if you're not lucky enough to have a dog, then go and see if a neighbour's got a dog that needs a walk.
Take yourself for a walk.
Absolutely. Because when we recognise it, we can do something about it. And when we don't recognise it, then it's going to keep coming back to remind us. And there will be something in our lives with every single person watching this has probably got some area of their life where they'd like to make some improvements. And Absolutely. What's really great is when you look at that and sort of saying, well, what am I putting into myself? Whether if it's your health, you might want to look at your food, your water, your exercise, the air you're breathing, your mindset. And the same goes for if you're feeling down or if you're lacking in financial abundance. What are the influences? If I'm financially not abundant, am I listening to other people that are broke all the time? Am I interacting with people that are in a very lack mindset around money? If I am, what can I do to change it? And if you can't change it in your immediate environment, the beauty is now is that we've got a huge access to a digital environment that can set us off on the right track.
Yeah. Start journaling, Kevin, with the flashbacks, especially because if you've got flashbacks, is obviously what you're telling us now is that you obviously have trauma of sorts. So the first thing you want to be doing is then deciding to heal your trauma. And then you maybe see someone, get in touch with someone, because if there has been deep trauma in your life, that would be best to actually work with someone on that, just so they can help you through.
Yeah. And also on my Rumble channel, I've spoken to a couple of times Kathy O'Brien, and so has Chantelle. Now, Kathy O'Brien has got an amazing book that was on my desk, but I think my cat's knocked it off. PTSD, Time to Heal.
Yeah, and Healing PTSD.
PTSD, Time to Heal. It's a fantastic little book written by Kathy O'Brien, who has survived the worst trauma you can.
It's on audiobooks too, by the way. And that book, I think it's that one. If you don't have money, you can get it for free. So if you go onto a website, and wow, what a special lady Kathy O'Brien is. I mean, she's phenomenal, really phenomenal.
She really is. So that will really help you. And what she'll do is if you go onto her website, you can do it by donation. And she's very happy for people that can't afford it to download it for free. And that's a beautiful place to start, because there's so many practical tips in there from someone that's really been there, done that, gone through it and proven that it absolutely works. So the beauty is there all these resources, and Chantelle and I on our channels, and we have got channels for those of you joining us on other ones. We've got Rumble channels, we've got YouTube channels, we've got Instagram, because obviously due to censorship, we have to put different things out on different platforms based on what we can get away with. So if you're not connected in and you need some of these resources, please do reach out to us and we'll let you know. So last call for the audience, both on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Let us know any final questions that you've got, because we're sort of coming up to closing it off in a few minutes. But my final point, and then I'll come to you, Chantelle, is our life is a reflection of the influences that are going into it. So, and this again, you know, we keep coming back. It's not a blame. It's looking at the influences you've got around you. And if there's areas of your life, which I've certainly got areas of my life I need to upgrade, then pick one area and start looking about influences. Yeah, you're perfect. Yes, your halo slipped. I always like to say down your ankles with your knickers.
I know. My hair had to be fixed today, so the halo slipped.
Yeah. So whilst we're doing the final call out for questions, Chantelle, what other words of wisdom would you like to pass on before we finish?
You know, I think, Catherine, it's really just, I mean, I've been teaching this work for a very long time. And, you know, the whole thing for me is you got to apply it. We have to apply things. So if you're in a bad space, honestly, find somebody whose podcast you enjoy. What I do, that's what I do. You know, in the morning as well, I get up, I have what I call my power hour. I will sit and I will firstly meditate. That's what I do. I get up, I then see to my kitty cats and what have you. I don't go onto social medias. I mean, if I can help it before then, unless there's something urgent or something, because that is such a distraction away from yourself. Because really in the morning you wake up, you're still in that beautiful fuzzy space. You choose your thoughts every morning. But you know what most of us tend to do is go back to, oh my gosh, remember yesterday. So within 5 seconds, we've now remembered yesterday's drama and we're now bringing it forward now. So want to try as much as what you can to decide to renew yourself every morning. Choose to love your partner. Again today, choose your partner, choose your work, choose your environment. Make a conscious choice today saying, I choose this for myself. Because remember, the greatest gift that God has given us is free will and choice. So you don't have to be anywhere, actually. You get to choose where you want to be. So choose yourself, choose your experience. And when you start doing that and then get up, write down, you know, I have a whole morning ritual for like an hour. I will oil pull. I will, you know, use my neti pot because, you know, I like to be healthy that way. Invariably, I'll either do yoga in the morning or I'll go for a very long walk on the beach or on the island here. So I definitely like to get out as much as what I can. Nature is magnificent. Even if you don't live in nature, go for a walk around the block, go for a coffee at your local coffee shop, whatever it might be, you know, just look at the world around you. You know, I just think that the minute we can start doing things like that, you break that space you're in. You never know who you can have a conversation with at the end of the day. You never know who you're going to meet. And, you know, always believe something wonderful is going to happen today. That for me is a big thing. Have this belief, something wonderful is going to happen today. Because this is how we create different experiences. It's our emotions. Our emotions are our fuel. So that excitement of knowing something wonderful is going to happen and you don't know what it is. It's like a gift from God or from the universe. You have no idea what it is. But man, when you get that phone call, when the person walks into your space, you know what it is, right? I mean, if you're a waitress, you never know, you might get $300 tip today, you know, whatever the case might be. So always believe that something wonderful is about to happen for you. And when you can start living the world like that, things start changing. Really does. Remember, the universe is geared. It's really, it's rigged in your favor. And even when something crappy happens, look at that and ask yourself, what is there for me to learn through this experience? What do I need to learn? Pray. I love praying. Prayer, meditation for me are what really, really works. Prayer is dialogue with the source. Meditation is listening and receiving. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So, you know, a little bit of a recap. When you're feeling down, if you're feeling in lack, if you're feeling lonely, have a look at what your environment is, what you're listening to, what you're watching, who you're interacting with, and make some changes. Little changes can make a huge difference. And, you know, start with online resources if you need to. That's absolutely fine. And then gradually each time just challenge yourself, because your mental diet, your mindset is key to absolutely every area of your life. It really is. And, you know, we can choose to look at how many people are struggling, or we can choose to look at how many people are thriving. And I know it sounds frustrating and annoying, and you can give us a virtual slap for saying it. That's quite allowed. But you know, for me, I've chosen a life where I surround myself with animals. It's absolutely wonderful because, you know, you get such unconditional love for them. They're so great at teaching us how to be in the moment. They make me get out in nature, rain, shine, first thing in the morning, last thing at night. So there's always something, some little change we can make that can make a quantum shift in our life. So thank you so much for everyone joining us. Chantelle, I love these chats as always.
So do I, yeah.
We will be back next week on Solutions with Aquarius Rising Africa. So come and find us there. Reach out if anyone's watching this on whatever platform you're watching it on. If you're struggling, if you need help, please reach out. There's so many of us out here that are really here and able to, you know, pass on any tips and help that we've got.
It's such a great community. You know, I've just found, I mean, I know there's quite a few people on here as well that are regulars on my shows as well. And we really, you know, we have a great community. So, you know, it's like a family that we've created here. So yeah, I know it's tough times sometimes, but it's also, these are times that we're moving through some very heavy stuff, but that's why we're here. We've chosen to be here. These are beautiful, magical, magnificent times to be alive, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin, please know you've got a community here of people that really care. So often even when we think we're alone, we're not alone. And my final word, and then I will be quiet and go, is do not be afraid to ask for help. It's really important that all of us ask for help from whatever that source might be. It can be through prayer, it can be through meditation, it can be to a professional, it can be to friends, it can be online, whatever it is. When you're struggling, reach for help. Thank you so much for joining us. We love it here.
Guys.
Take care. Wonderful. And we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Indeed.
Bye.